It's time to get ready. It's time to get ready. It's time to get ready. Time to get ready. Time to get ready. Whoa. Wake up. It's time to get ready. It's time to get ready. It's time to get ready. Time to get ready. Time to get ready. Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Off the Bench. My name's Jorge Pajares, joined by Roland, as always, my co-host. And we are sponsored by Diplomacy Clothing. Negotiate with style. Get a face mask. We're starting to open up, but we still got to get some face masks. Go to Instagram. Look for Diplomacy Clothing. Get your order in. Me and Roland already got ours.
I would show mine, but I don't have it next to me.
I don't have mine next to me.
Kyle knows.
But they have great variety in their face masks. So go to Instagram, follow them at Diplomacy Clothing, and get yours today. Roll.
Yep. What's up?
This week has been wild, and by wild I mean AEW's pay-per-view event. Double or Nothing was the show we all needed during coronavirus.
Yeah, man, it was definitely a good show, great show.
And I was able to catch it on Fight TV, but just
that's in the system.
The big thing that caught my eye was that AEW did what WWE didn't do, what UFC even didn't do, and that's put on a great show with all the circumstances.
Yes.
It started off with their version of Money in the Bank, which is a wild move, by the way. Money in the Bank's WWE pay-per-view was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but this one was wild. It was crazy, like insane, and we had a debut of Brian Cage, formerly of TNA.
Yeah,
and he won that casino ladder match. But every other match, while some of them could be just technical and like boring to some, it was perfect. Honestly, close to perfect. Mike Tyson came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I heard about that.
He brought out the TNT Championship. I thought he was gonna knock someone out.
Cool looking belt. I'm not gonna lie, that's a cool looking strap. TNT belt.
I like the belt. Mm-hmm. And they said it's unfinished. So there's still more work to be done, but because of COVID, they had to they just had to show what they had. And I can't wait to see the full product. But Cody won that. Cody Rhodes won that belt.
Cody won that. Mm-hmm.
Which is perfect because that's great for him because now he has a title he can hold on to.
A title, yeah.
Because in storyline, he can't challenge for the world championship ever. So that's something to give him and pretty much elevate that belt to a high mid-card level.
Yeah, it's a good way to. He's the right person to put that strap on. I mean, you could argue Kenny Omega. A lot of people, Kenny Omega, you want to make a title look real? Give it to Kenny. I mean, but it like you said, in storyline with Cody not being able to capture the actual world championship, it gives him a strap to hold on to, and Cody's a big enough name to give the title some real credibility.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the whole storyline between Lance Archer and Jake the Snake Roberts versus Cody Rhodes and them going after him and just building Lance Archer to this huge unstoppable force. And even the match itself, where Lance Archer right away went for his finisher. Like, he wasted no time. That was smart. So it's like, this guy, he gives zero fucks. He's gonna screw you. He's gonna do whatever necessary to win. And it took 2 of Cody's finishers, the Crossroads, to pin Lance Archer, which makes Lance Archer look dominant. That's
always been. Yeah, I'll let you finish.
I was just gonna say that it puts him over even in defeat because it's like you needed 2 of your finishers to just put him down for a 3 count.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm going to piggyback off of there. It's literally, if anyone who watches wrestling understands, I mean, maybe not currently with what the WWE product has to offer, but back in the day when WWE was really on top of this game, if you hit somebody with your finisher once, typically that's a sign of game over. And there's some wrestlers like Triple H and some people who finishers have been protected by certain companies to make them look indestructible. But for the most part, if somebody takes 2 finishers, I remember thinking with Braun Strowman. Correct me if I'm wrong, George, but I remember when they were really building up Braun Strowman. I can't remember who he was in the match with. But everyone was like, "Oh my god, he kicked out of that! Oh my god!" And so I think they ended up taking like 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken, to actually keep the guy down. And I think that's always been the number one wrestling tool for some, for companies to get somebody over in a loss, is to make them look, oh my god, like even in defeat, like you said, he took 2 finishers to to be stopped. It's a big tip of the cap to them.
And this rivalry definitely isn't over. This is basically the beginning, because they went through a whole tournament to announce the winner of this new TNT championship. They were the finalists. So this rivalry is only just beginning. So that's something that's going to be built for years. Going on later on in the match, we have the women's championship, Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shido, I believe her name is.
Yeah, I'll be real. I didn't know any of them, to be real with you. I didn't know many of them. So I was just kind of like, I don't know them. So, I mean, but from what I've read and reviewed, the match seemed to be pretty good.
Yeah, the match was pretty good between those two. And really, Hikaru Shido winning, it could be early because Nyla Rose literally just won the belt in February.
That's what I heard.
But then again, like the big issue with AEW is they don't build their women's division too well. So this could be a great match. A great way to elevate that championship. Not as a hot potato, but just putting on these great matches. And you could have Nyla Rose versus Shido again in a rematch.
Oh yeah, for sure.
At All Out, but it was a good match. Sheena deserves it. I mean, she's highly regarded by Kenny Omega, who's an executive at AEW. So they definitely, just from her winning, they definitely have high hopes with her. There was
tragic news also about Hannah Kimura.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually thought that she was actually going to leave Stardom to actually get to AEW. That was a pretty hot topic there for a second. Yes. And to hear about her passing was.
And it was very sad. I mean, cyberbullying is just terrible, and it's more effective. It's more prevalent today. So we gotta try to be nicer, but it's you never know. You never know with cyberbullying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
MJF and Jungle Boy, which is that technical wrestling that happened.
Oh, for sure.
Mentioned before. It was very technical, but MJF winning with just a roll up, grabbing of the arms. Very old school wrestling.
Do you believe he is one of the more underrated wrestlers in their company? I mean, a lot of people's getting behind this guy, George. I mean,
MJF
his following is MF.
MJF. Gotcha.
Yeah, MJF. Yeah, I mean, every time an AEW event goes on, I hear so much about this guy, and I'm just like, he's starting to build a heck of a nice little following for him.
I think he's only 22, 23 years old, and he is the best heel that AEW has.
Yeah.
And if anything, if God forbid, an injury or something were to happen to him, I don't know how AEW would cope, because he is their best heel. Every time he's on TV, he doesn't even need to be in a match, and he's guaranteed.
Reminds me of old school Randy Orton.
Yes.
You remember when people just love to hate the guy?
He reminds me of the Legend Killer, Randy Orton.
Yeah, exactly.
After Evolution, and he became the Legend Killer. He's got that kind of potential.
For sure.
The next 2 matches we may not have needed. Chris Statlander was supposed to fight Britt Baker, but Britt Baker tore her ACL on Wednesday's Dynamite, the Go Home show. So they replaced her with Penelope Ford, who's Kip Sabian's manager. I mean, it was an okay match, but you could have done away with it.
Yeah, I mean, once the news broke that Baker was no longer going to be in the match, I feel like at that point in time, it was the proper time to squash it, because, like you said, we didn't need the match. And wrestling is a story. You're telling stories. Yeah. And when you replace a wrestler with just somebody to fill in just to get the match, it's kind of like, well, why are these two even wrestling? Why is this even happening?
One match that they definitely should have just not done at all was Dustin Rhodes against Shawn Spears. Because Shawn Spears comes out, he's in a suit. He's like, and the entire show leading up to this match, they're saying that, no one's seen Dustin Rhodes. We don't know where he is. Shawn Spears comes out, says to the referee, count him out, ring the bell, and just win. He's not in any ring gear. He doesn't have ring gear underneath. He's just like, just count him out and I'll win. And of course, as per usual, it's that twist where Dustin Rhodes comes out of nowhere and just starts beating up Shawn Spears. But then he strips him down. And Shawn Spears is up to his underwear. And he's got his image of his manager in his crotch area. And they're showing, some crack. And I'm like, this isn't necessary. Like,
no.
I know we're trying to kill time, but that's not necessary. So that could have been done away. The big match, well, not the biggest match, but the World Championship match was really good, and I'll tell you why.
That was Mox right?
versus Brody Lee, also known as Luke Harper.
Brody
Lee came. Moxley retained, but only because he had to put Brody in a sleeper hold, because Brody kept kicking out of a paradigm shift through the wooden ramp where he got busted open.
Yeah.
And he kicked out of one.
See, I only seen in the highlight that I've seen, it only happened once. So I didn't know he kicked out one.
But they were brawling throughout the arena, and it was pretty much a street fight without being a street fight. And the fact that Brody Lee continued to kick out of one, continued to kick out of two, and just all of Moxley's finishers weren't working. And then it took a sleeper hold where the referee decided Brody Lee can't compete anymore. Where it's like, all right, Brody Lee didn't lose to Jon Moxley. He didn't technically tap out.
Yeah, he didn't tap out. He didn't get things.
The referee said, "Oh, he's not responding to me. I'm gonna stop the match."
Yeah.
Which you can continue the rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. That's all that is.
You didn't beat me. That referee stopped the match too early. I could have kept going. And
that's what we're gonna hear on Wednesday.
AEW. WWE, they would have built this match up, and then have this dominant figure going for the World Championship, and then him tapping out. That makes you look weak. That makes you look weak. This looks like a badass. That's like, and this can go on to the like I said, the referee stopped the match. You didn't beat me. You can't beat me. And then they can go into stipulations.
But that's why AEW is head and shoulders over what the WWE product is. Because even old school TNA would do something along what AEW is, where they won't make the guy who they're building up here to, tap out or get pinned or something,
Now,
even continue.
No,
continue. That was it. Oh, I was just gonna say, you could have protected him by counting him out, but if it was already like a street fight, there was no counting that out. So that's all I was gonna say.
But the main event, this was amazing.
That was the main event.
The Stadium Stampede at TIAA Field, where the Jacksonville Jaguars play.
Oh yes. This was Omega, right?
This was the Elite and Matt Hardy versus the Inner Circle.
Inner Circle, yeah.
Fam.
They
had pyro. It was as if the players were running to the field for pregame. They were getting announced. The Inner Circle came out to Chris Jericho's song. They had football jerseys on with the Inner Circle logo. Jericho was wearing his dad's old hockey number. It was hilarious. Adam Hangman Page came out on a horse. Just putting his character full circle. Bringing his character full circle. And there's a ring in the middle of the field. They're standing at each side. There's no bell. The referee blows a whistle, signaling that the match should start. They run at each other and they go off. A lot of crazy spots were in this, man. Hangman Adam Page chases Sammy Guevara into the back, into the locker room area. He chases him on a horse, and Sammy Guevara has been running away from golf carts, everything throughout Dynamite. So Guevara manages to escape. Everyone's fighting each other. And the funniest thing, though, is that at some point later on in the match, Chris Jericho is fighting, I think, Nick Jackson. And he hits him with a move. And he goes for a pin. And the referee counts to 2, and Jackson kicks out. Jericho looks up and says, "What the fuck was that? That's a 3. Referee says, "No, that's a 2. Jericho goes into his pocket, pulls out a red challenge flag, says, "I'm challenging that play." To which they start arguing.
That's
Referee
Chris
says,
Jericho
"Let's
for you,
go
man.
under the tent." And it's a nitpick, but they go into the medical tent. And they say, "We're gonna go for a replay review." Chris Jericho goes into the tent. They go to a replay review, go slow motion, as if it was actually the NFL.
Well, reviewing the play.
You could hear Jericho talking to the referee saying, "That's a 3 count. How can that not be a 3 count?" They come out. Referee says, "Call in the field stands." That's a 2 count. The match continues. Jericho looks at the referee straight in her eye and says, "You're a shitty referee," and goes back and continues. That was the best thing I've seen.
You can't tell me Chris Jericho ain't gold, man. He is gold.
That it was pure gold. But there was another. I think Matt Jackson grabbed Sammy Guevara from one end zone and started doing his suplex move. I forget what it's called specifically. I think it was it was like a suplex where they're on the floor and they start flipping. He flips them on the floor. Yeah, it's I forget the name, but he does this the length of the football field. To which when he flips him
over and over
opposite end zone, yes.
Oh, okay.
he suplex flips him all the way to the opposite end zone. To which the referee that's controlling their fight says that's a touchdown. Jackson starts to celebrate, and he does the Adam Wright celebration. To which the referee pulls out the yellow flag. Excessive celebration. 15-yard penalty to the elite. Bro.
This is
the references were amazing.
This is some high def storytelling, that's for sure.
So Matt Hardy is fighting Santana and Ortiz, Pride and Powerful, over by the bar area in the stands, in the seats. They manage to get to the pool. I believe it's Santana that throws Matt Hardy into the pool. It's 3 feet of water, this pool, mind you. Santana is fighting Matt Hardy in this pool. Then he calls over to his brother, says, "Ortiz, get in the pool. What are you waiting for? Get in the water." Ortiz says, "I can't swim."
I've seen that comment.
And then Santana yells, "Stop being a pendejo and get your butt in the water." Ortiz slowly gets into the pool. They start beating Matt Hardy up. Then they start drowning him. Mind you, this is Damascus Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
They start drowning him, and they lift him up, and all of a sudden, it's Matt Hardy of the Hardy Boys pulling up the version 2s.
Doing the V2.
Doing the V2, and he's just like, oh, it's Matt Hardy. They start fighting, start drowning him again. To which point, the camera pans to inside the pool, and Matt Hardy is looking at the camera doing the V2. Then it stops.
Yeah, bro.
Graphic that says, "Matter of fact, Matt Hardy can hold his breath for 364 seconds." And then it shows all the personas that Matt Hardy has.
Oh, God.
Santana Ortiz stop drowning Matt Hardy and notice this logo thing that's appeared on our television screens. And just looks at it like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, like what's going on?
To which they pull out Matt Hardy again, and now it's Hardy Boys Matt Hardy.
Oh my God.
They drown him again one more time.
Yeah.
And now it's broken Matt Hardy. To which now he starts chanting "delete." This whole match was amazing. I'm not even in. There's so much that we would spend this entire episode talking about.
Yeah, gotcha.
This was amazing. I'm giving this show 5 stars.
Everything I've seen, you told me it was a good show. They didn't get into all the graphics and stuff, so I feel like I missed out. I might have to recap this, but
and mind you, there's only like 20, maybe 30 people of like what the wrestlers and everyone who works there invited.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a full crowd. But a show like this is how you should do a show with no fans.
I mean, you almost gotta treat it like there's, the athletes gotta treat it like, hey, we're gonna go out there and perform like there is a fan. Like you can't go if you go out there. I feel like at WrestleMania, a lot of people went out there with that mindset. Man, with WrestleMania, no crowd. And it almost kind of played into the matches a little bit. AEW just going straight forward, like, hey man, we don't, it is what it is. You're going to enjoy our product, and that's going to be the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. And another sport really that came back with no fans was NASCAR, and they recently had another the beginning of, or the resumption, I should say, of their races.
But they had Darlington not yesterday, last weekend, and I caught a good portion of it on YouTube. I wasn't able to actually catch it live, but I mean the racing was fine. Kyle Busch, who anyone who watches NASCAR, everyone knows nobody likes that guy. He spins out the most. He wrecked the most beloved guy in the sport, and Chase Elliott flipped him off. And I mean, it was everything was all good over there. So I'm like, they're going out there and they're still putting on good racing, and they're doing this weird thing with the pit crew where they're only allowing certain people over, and it's weird,
right?
For sure. But it's understandable. I mean, they're also all already geared up. So my whole thought process before was these guys are already geared up. They can just go out there and change some tires and go back over the wall. But I mean, they're taking all the the appropriate precautions to make sure everybody's safe. I'm actually keeping up to date with the race right now. I keep glancing down over it, checking out what's going on. But I'm glad NASCAR's coming back.
Did the lack of fans make it less enjoyable or no change?
No, I mean, it also helps that NASCAR in general, they never really sell out arenas like they used to. You used to go 2003, 2004, 2005, all race, no matter where they were, Darlington, Phoenix, Chicago, wherever. They was always selling out. With the recent product and the recent cars and all the changes that they made, it's not nearly as popular as it was before. And so, you already kind of get used to watching it with minimum fans, in attendance. But I tell you, George, I didn't notice any difference. I was more in tune with what's going on the track than me looking around and be like, wow, there is nobody going on.
Well, that's good to hear, because that's a big thing right now with a lot of sports coming back, especially with the Bundesliga. They started around the same time that NASCAR did.
Mm-hmm.
And that you could it honestly, and this is just me probably fitting into a stereotype, but it was just like going to play soccer with my dad at some random high school. That's how it felt like watching the Bundesliga with no fans. Okay. There was more focus on the soccer, and sure, like you couldn't celebrate with your teammates.
Yeah.
But the soccer was still there.
Yeah.
Everyone was keeping a safe distance on the bench. And the lack of fans really, I mean, you miss it, but it wasn't that noticeable.
Yeah, and I would just get ready to say, I mean, this is the time period for people like just go out there and show, they're watching the sport for the sport. You're not watching for the fans. If say when basketball does come back, we're not going to be looking around in the crowd. We're going to be watching Steph Curry do this and LeBron James do that and James Harden do this, and you're watching it for the athletes. I mean, obviously in sports like basketball, where crowds are a little more, engaged, as you could say, like when a team's going on a crazy run and crowds going crazy, that swings momentum. So it's going to be interesting watching basketball. It's almost going to be watching a pickup game, I think. When the NBA do return, it's going to be watching, like people just hoop in a rec center, where there's nobody really watching and they're just going out there bowling.
Speaking of the NBA, right now the plan is for them to start mid to late July with Walt Disney World being the location of the games. Right, it was between Las Vegas and Orlando, but a lot of NBA teams and owners and general managers are pushing for Disney World to be the location to resume the season for late July. However, there's a new proposal along with this proposal to restart the season to have a play-in playoff format, where you invite all the NBA teams, you have a season, but now instead of just restarting from where we left off 2 months ago, you have a play-in format where the more, I would assume the more games you win, or you win a certain amount of games, you're in the playoff, which means, and you have a chance to go to the NBA Finals, which means the New York Knicks can still technically become the 2020 NBA champions.
The only hope you guys have.
But if it's a March Madness style tournament for the NBA championship,
you
start in late July.
Would you like that? Would you?
Mean, we already missed March Madness.
Yeah.
So it would fill that void, and it would give us, if we're going to do all the NBA teams fighting for the playoffs, it could bring up some great matches.
The only reason why I asked that is, obviously it'd be entertaining for the that's not lie. Even as I sit here and I think about, like, man, that would be extremely weird. Because, like, worst case scenario, if they decide to do that, worst case scenario here is, try to think of a superstar. Okay, Milwaukee. We'll use Milwaukee, for example. Giannis goes down first game, very bad injury. Very bad injury. And they don't win X amount of games to make it to the playoffs. When prior to all of that, they were the number 1 seed. Already had locked up the playoff and all was fine and then. You see where the issue where that could become an issue, which is why I'm like, man, I get what you're saying, but worst case scenario, somebody goes down, their team no longer in it, they're sitting there thinking, I was already in the playoffs. Why do I have to go through this again? But I do agree. Hear me out. This is something I can see. I think would be cool. All the teams who are at the bottom of the bracket, like 5 through 8. If you're in a close enough span, they go out there and they have like some type of March Madness kind of bracket, or 5 on
for what the number 1 seed or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then like they play to get into the playoffs. I would assume the teams who are already locked in, like mathematically already locked in, they wouldn't have to be involved in it. Obviously they can play games or whatever. You can have them play like pickup games or something, but that's just an idea. Something where we still get that March Madness kind of feel. But it's not going to drastically impact the teams who worked hard in the regular season and get penalized later.
Yeah. And, I agree. There's always that chance of injury. Kawhi Leonard, if I see like a Kawhi Leonard that happening to him, or a Paul George. Where the only reason why I didn't
say Kawhi Leonard was because Paul George is still there. So mathematically, I think it won enough games to be in it. Now, Giannis went down. As much as I like Chris Middleton, I don't think they'll win as many games without Giannis. So that's the only reason why I mentioned him.
But a late July start means we might push back on the whole October, November return, which this could just lead to what a lot of people have been saying, that the NBA should start around Christmas time. Have like a week before Christmas, start the season, and then your big marquee games are Christmas Day. And
I think the problem with that is I don't think the NBA wants to widely affect. Because let's look at it. If that's the case, hypothetically speaking, football probably wouldn't be starting till about near the same time. Yeah. And then you have to. It's almost like nothing against the NBA, but NFL regular season games mean more than NBA regular season games. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So unless those real diehard people who just watch basketball regardless, they're gonna have a hard time pulling in views, I believe. I don't know when the NFL start date would be or any of that. But going off the fact that we know their OTAs are basically done for, there's no training camps, there's no, it's not looking like any of these teams are going to be able to get together to at least preseason. Yeah. So it's a tricky time, but I think if the NBA decided to go in the route of where, I know Adam Silver talked about it, just going right to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then say they go to playoffs by July, They wrap up by August, mid-August. And then they return, like you said, maybe December, maybe earlier. Maybe they don't have the long summer.
Around Thanksgiving, maybe.
Yeah, and they come back around Thanksgiving time. That's still only a month off than what they normally would start it. So you still can get a good majority of games still in, without impacting your scheduling.
I could see that. I mean, it's you want basketball back, and the NFL is acting as if there's no pandemic going on. It's gonna be business as usual. We're gonna have a full house of opening day crowds. Mm-hmm. And the NBA, and Orlando's a great spot because they have the they already have the broadcast partnership with ESPN, which
Mm-hmm.
So you could already broadcast the games through ESPN.
Do you think it would be a great move for the NBA to go to the Disneyland, Disney World experience thing?
I mean, it's tough because Florida and Las Vegas were one of the first states to reopen. But the cases in Florida have been promising. I mean, they've been doing their due diligence, and the numbers haven't been as grave as other states. And Disney World, I mean, it's really coincidental now that I'm thinking about it, because the Disney Corporation just announced that because Universal Studios is considering reopening at about 20% of people coming into the parks, Disney is now thinking the same thing about 20 to 30% people coming into the parks. Mind you, now that there's going to be NBA in, there could be...
Well, so would that mean there will be a small audience?
That I could see a 20-25% audience in the crowds. And as long as everyone has a face mask, I guess they can do it. And they've been fine with testing. And as long as everyone else is tested, I guess they can be done. And Orlando may be the best spot for it.
Now that you bring that up, that's a very wide idea. And, I'm thinking about it because, like you said, theoretically, if they wear masks, they will be allowed to go in.
Yeah. As long as there's sanitation areas where everyone is sanitized, people are on top of cleanliness. I guess
I'm sure they would wear sections. You're not allowed, obviously, within a certain radius of wherever the next person would be.
Yeah, you have to implement that the way you sell your sections or whatever. You might have to get a bathroom attendant to make sure people are washing their hands, and not just walking out. But I could see the NBA doing that.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
But lastly, and this is the lone piece of NFL news, NFL noteworthy news. Devonta Freeman is considering sitting out the entirety of the 2020 season because he's not getting the deal.
Yeah, he did say that.
And I guess he gets it from the Le'Veon Bell school book of if you want your money, get paid, sit out and get paid. But then again, I mean, Devonta Freeman's old team just got Todd Gurley. And Freeman,
that is true. That is true.
And Freeman, I don't think is on the same level of Le'Veon Bell.
No.
Whereas Le'Veon Bell, with his situation with the Steelers, is that he was producing for the Steelers, and the Steelers weren't committing long-term money and kept franchise tagging him. I don't think Freeman's in the same situation, so I don't know if this is such a wise move for Freeman to do.
I mean, there's levels to this. There's levels to this shit. And Devonta Freeman, although a good running back, would not be mistaken for a top 10 running back. No. So, I mean, if he's trying to pull a Le'Veon Bell, who at that time was arguably the best running back in football, catching, passing, blocking, doing literally everything.
Best all-around running back.
Yeah, for sure. Devonta Freeman already off a couple injury-prone years, where his production is basically dropped for him. You gotta wonder. I remember we were talking about this off air. I'm like, what's his number? What number is Devonta Freeman asking for? Because he said, "I'm willing to set out if I don't get my number." Well, what's your number, sir? You know, let us know. Because if you're asking for what Todd Gurley has, if you could pull that up real quick, I don't know what Todd Gurley's number is right now, but just off the top of my head, if he was asking for what Todd Gurley got, Todd Gurley's not even worth what Todd Gurley got. You know, so how are you? You know, at your peak, you was great, but you wasn't elite. You was great, but you wasn't elite. You know, so my big question is, what is he asking for? You know, does he want to win? You know, because I feel like that's also going to matter. If you don't want to win and you want to get paid, what, 16 a mil from, give me a team here to think of.
So real quick, Todd Gurley signed with the Falcons for 1 year, $5.5 million.
Yeah, but that's going off of he already getting paid from the Rams X amount of dollars. I don't know what that X amount
the
of
Rams. He got a 4 year, $60 million guarantee.
See, there we go. How much of that was guaranteed?
$45 million guaranteed. So I don't think Freeman's gonna get that kind of money.
Hell no.
Especially when he visited with the Jets, and the Jets wanted to offer him a contract, but it was a veteran minimum, maybe a 1 year, $4 million deal. Same thing with Logan Ryan with the Jets.
Yeah,
and a lot of these players, and you know Cam Newton is still out there. What are the numbers, like you said, that they're asking for?
That's all I want to know.
We're very late into free agency, and these teams aren't going to get north of $10 million from anyone.
George, there's only as much as I love Christian McCaffrey, I know everyone's looking at his deal like that. Understand, I don't think Christian McCaffrey is going to outplay the contract. I fully understand the position in the NFL for running backs takes so much wear and tear that by the time you get to your third year, you're already kind of damaged goods. Because that's why you don't see many running backs getting more than a 4-year deal. A 4-year deal for a running back is great. Like you take it. Devonta Freeman, I think, wants a multi-year contract. I think he's not looking for a one and go. Because he understands if he gets a one and go, nobody's going to pay him north of what, $4 or $5 million?
And that's what the Seahawks offered him after he met with the Seahawks. They offered him a 1 year, $4 million deal, and Freeman turned that down. To which the Seahawks then just signed Carlos Hyde anyway to a 1 year deal for $4 million. And you think about the system the Seahawks have. If Carlos Hyde does well in Seattle, they're going to sign him to another.
He's going to do great. Yeah, he's going to do great.
And Freeman, I guess he wants at least $5 million.
He has to be.
Because if you're not, that's a Super Bowl ready team in Seattle, and you're going to be in the playoffs. You could face your former team in Atlanta in the playoffs and just stick it to them. But if it's about the money, then Freeman is coming off a 5-year, $41 million extension with the Falcons.
He got paid.
It's a matter of, do you want to still see a contract similar to that? Because last year he only had 656 on 3.5 yards average. And 2 touchdowns.
He's not the same explosive bat he once was.
And teams know that.
Yeah.
And teams know that. And like you said, he's had injuries before, so it's a matter of same thing with Cam Newton.
Not when, not if, it's when.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Cam Newton. Cam Newton now, his camp has come out knowing that teams aren't going to sign him to be a starter at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That he'll take backup money. Yeah. And now,
it's the only way he can get onto a team.
And that's really all it is, because there's no way they're going to get the deals they want. And like I said, Christian McCaffrey's not going to outplay the contract, but the value of the position and knowing what he does for that Carolina Panthers offense.
Everything, man. Everything.
It's
everything.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer you have to sign him to that
contract. And that's why a lot of people said they actually, Roland, your team paid him that type of money, that kind of money. And I'm like, man, listen, without Christian McCaffrey, we're the worst offense probably in football. Christian McCaffrey was top 10. So it's a no-brainer. You know, you give the man who's producing your offense. Like, if for why everyone was complaining, pay Le'Veon Bell when he was producing for Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. And the same reason why people will cry out if try to think of a name here. Oh, the same reason why people are crying out that Prescott not getting his money.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, he's producing, give him his money. You know, you have to give the guy their money. Unless you want to, you know, I guess Carolina could have said, hey, we're not going to pay you, and we're just going to keep franchise tagging you and doing this and that, and then, you know, stretch it out to where what his rookie year would have been 5 years. What's the team option picking up? Would it extended it to probably be about 6 years and probably just let him go, because at that point in time, he probably going to, you know, he's not going to be the same running back, you know, 6 years from, you know. So.
No, yeah, you definitely make valid points.
So, I mean, it's tough. It's tough being a running back in the NFL. I'll say that.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is. You got to make your money now before it's too late.
Before it's too late.
That's going to do it for us. As always, we're sponsored by Diplomacy Clothing. Follow them on Instagram. Guys, we have a Facebook, Off the Bench Pod. We have an Instagram.
We do. We're moving
Follow
up,
us
man.
all over social media. Listen to us on Spotify. We're everywhere at this point.
Yes.
However
We're
you may be
constantly growing.
listening. Please just keep up with the content. Follow, subscribe, whatever you have to do to keep up with us. We're in contact with you in a number of ways.
Yes. Even though I know we went a while without posting the video, we apologize. We were still on social media actively, you know, conversating. So, you know, even if we don't have a video up within a day or two, you guys can always find us there, you know. There's always, you know, content to be had. I know me and George already talked earlier about we're gonna drop something on Instagram for you guys here, and probably put it on the Facebook too. So, you know, we got some videos going.
So for the rest of you bench players, this is Jorge and Roland signing off.